It has been a day and my daughter has still not even bothered to respond back to me. I am not going to just take this disrespect. I have received so many messages making assumptions about what kind of a father I was and attacking me for not enabling a disrespectful adult. I hope you all enjoy handing out thousands of dollars every year to support the education of an adult who can't even be bothered to give you the time of day after you've done everything for them. Thank you to the few mature and reasonable people who understand that I am not required to enable a disrespectful adult child. I've appreciated your public and private messages. I want to start off by saying that I have done everything for my children. I was there at the hospital for their births, signed the birth certificates. I changed diapers and always provided them with food and designer clothes. But my ex is extremely manipulative and has tried to turn my children against me since day one. She manipulated my older daughter, who refused to talk things out with me. I will still forgive her once she finally decides to snap out of my ex's manipulations and come back to me. Me and my younger daughter, Sarah, had a great relationship until she suddenly flipped the switch in her senior year and also was poisoned against me. When Sarah was applying for college, I really didn't want her to go far because she has book smarts but lacks common sense, and I didn't want her to fall for scams. I even offered to buy her a car if she lived with me and commuted to a local school. But Sarah just said that the local programs didn't have what she wanted. I found it insulting because I went to a local college, and despite what my ex thinks, I am highly educated without some PhD. Sarah did not listen to my input at all. Her and my ex barely involved me in her college application process. My ex was extremely unhelpful. I would just ask basic questions like tuition since I was going to spend considerable funds, and she would either send website links. It would have only taken a few seconds for her to just answer the question so I can stay in the loop about what's going on. But this was just part of my ex's way of turning Sarah against me. Sarah enrolled at an out-of-state college, and I didn't even find out until May because my ex didn't bother telling me. I didn't even get to see Sarah off at the airport since she didn't tell me she had left until after she was already gone. I constantly text Sarah asking how things are going. I send her funny posts on Facebook and ask her to call me. I even offered to split the cost of plane fare so Sarah could visit over the holidays. She only responds on email, and it's always her saying she's too busy. I am frustrated and tired of this. She is taking a lot of classes right now, but I'm her father, and it would only take a second of her day to just text me back or talk to me on the phone for 5 minutes. I have supported and been providing for Sarah since day one. I am done being disrespected when I have bent over backwards for 18 years to give her everything and have sent $7,000 just this year for her schooling. I could be doing a million other things with that money. Maybe I am at fault for enabling it for so long, but not anymore. I sent an email telling her that I am done with being disrespected, and if she can't even give me the time of day, then my ex can find someone else to split the cost of her schooling with. I sent the email over 2 hours ago, and there has been no response. I know my wording might seem harsh, but I am just so done with being disrespected. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're the idiot. The way you talk about the women in your life is upsetting and concerning. Of course you paid for everything your kid needed during her childhood. That was your responsibility. You don't get a trophy for supporting the children you choose to bring into the world. You aren't special. Now that she is 18, you could cut her off if you wanted to, but you'd be stupid to think that she's going to come crawling back to play by your manipulative rules with all the hugs and kisses for her daddy. She'll just do what most of us had to do. She'll take out loans to cover what you stopped paying. You'll probably never see her again. Forget about her potential future children. You won't be their grandfather. You don't think your wife had to turn your children against you? I think you did that all by yourself. Comment 2. You're the idiot. I was there at the hospital for their births, signed the birth certificates. I changed diapers and always provided them with food and designer clothes. Apart from the designer clothes, that's basic parenthood 101, and providing food and clothes is the bare legal requirement for you as a parent to meet. The only reason you'd be forgiven for not being at the hospital for their births is if external forces were preventing you. Saying you were there for the births is not the flex you use it as. If you think Sarah is too naive to spot scams, that's a failing in how you were or weren't a parent to her. Was this switch flipping around the same time she expressed and you pushed against her uni plans? Now for the update. Thank you for sticking around for more of what's been going on. So after I sent that email to Sarah, things went from bad to worse. I thought I was finally taking a stand on, but it backfired. Sarah finally replied, and her words stung like a slap in the face. She said she was disappointed in me for not understanding the pressure she's under with school and that my expectations were unreasonable. She also mentioned that she had been talking to her mom about everything, and they decided it was best if I wasn't involved in her education financially if it was going to be held over her head. I couldn't believe it. After all I've done, this is the thanks I get. But here's the real kicker. My younger daughter, who I thought was on my side, turned on me too. She told me she agreed with Sarah in that I was being too controlling. She said I never really listened to what they wanted, only what I thought was best. That hurt. I always prided myself on being a good dad, but now both my kids were telling me I wasn't. I was fuming and feeling betrayed. I started questioning everything. Was I really the problem? I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, just kept replaying everything in my head. I thought about all the times I'd been there for them, all the sacrifices I'd made. And for what? To be pushed out like I didn't matter? I needed to clear my head, so I went for a drive. I ended up outside my ex's house, not even sure how I got there. It was late, but I saw her lights on. I thought about knocking on the door, having it out with her once and for all. But I didn't. I just sat there in the car, feeling sorry for myself. The next day, I tried to talk to Sarah again. I wanted to fix things, but she was cold. She said she needed space and that I should respect her decision. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was losing my daughter, and there was nothing I could do about it. I started talking to some friends about it, looking for advice. Most of them told me to give Sarah the space she asked for, that she'd come around eventually. But one friend, who I've known since college, said something that really hit home. He told me that maybe it was time to look in the mirror and see that the common denominator in all my failed relationships was me. That was tough to hear, but deep down, I knew there was some truth to it. I spent the next few days doing some serious soul-searching. I thought about my relationship with my ex, how it had gone sour, how I'd always blamed her for turning the kids against me. But maybe I played a part in it too. Maybe I was too focused on being right, on having things my way, that I didn't see how it was affecting my kids. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I reached out to my ex. I asked if we could meet and talk, just the two of us. She was surprised but agreed. We met at a coffee shop, and for the first time in years, we had a real conversation. I listened more than I talked, which was new for me. She told me how the kids felt, how my actions had pushed them away. It was hard to hear, but I needed to hear it. After that meeting, I sent an email to Sarah. I apologized for not respecting her space and for not listening to her needs. I told her I loved her and that I would always be here for her, no strings attached. I didn't expect a reply, but she sent one. She said she appreciated my apology and that she needed some time to think about everything. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm hopeful that things can get better. I'm learning to let go a little, to trust that I've raised my kids to make good decisions. It's not easy, but I'm trying. And maybe, just maybe, we can start to rebuild our relationship. Thanks for reading. My sister neglected her daughter and expected forgiveness. But when her new husband gambled away their life savings, I watched her life crumble. My sister had her daughter, Asha, when she was 25. Asha is now 21 and she has nothing to do with my sister. My sister was never really a good mom. Not when Asha's dad was alive, not when she became a young widow, and not when she decided to focus on herself after losing her husband. Asha did not have an easy time with my sister, and while my sister went through a lot as well, she was stable in her job, she had support from friends and family, she had a house, and she had any number of resources at her fingertips. But she still chose to be a checked-out mother who really didn't give a crap about her child. Asha spent most of her time with her paternal uncle because of the connection to her dad and their shared grief. He was also amazing to her and stepped up where my sister failed. But Asha still saw me and my parents a lot, and I was the person she went to for more motherly things. She knew it was a waste of time asking my sister, so she found ways around everything where my sister's advice or guidance wasn't needed. But it wasn't easy for her. She used to say how embarrassed she was at school when everyone was talking about their parents, and she couldn't talk about hers because her mom never made time for her, never said nice things to her, etc. She didn't even know how old her mom was or what she did for the longest time because my sister was so absent and never shared. She asked my parents one time at their house because she needed to answer for homework and was called lazy by teachers in previous years for not answering. Asha cared less over time and focused more on a life without my sister, and by the time she was 18, Asha had a solid plan and moved out. It was also by that time my sister was remarried and expecting a child with her current husband. My sister's husband appeared to have this belief that Asha would be engaged in the life of their child, and he was super shocked when he realized Asha was leaving and wasn't staying in touch. But he knew who he married, and he knew how bad of a mom my sister was. My sister even said their first child together and their second were her chance to do things right. She has frequently said this, which is why I brought this up last week when my sister complained that Asha has not met the kids and blocked her after calling her husband and kids my sister's do-over family. My sister took huge offense to that, and she claimed Asha was lacking in sympathy for how hard it was to be a young widowed mom. I told her she knows she was a bad mother. She knows this is her do-over because she even said the kids were her chance to do things right, not to do things better but right, and that her words show she knows she was no mother to Asha despite many people trying to help in past years, me included. My sister told me I had no right to judge her, and she told me to stay out of her life. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, I'm sure it was difficult to be a young widowed mother, but I'm even more sure it was extremely difficult and traumatizing to effectively be an orphan with a parent who was very much alive. If your sister wants sympathy, you should give her the same words of wisdom my grandmother used to give others like your sister. You want sympathy? You'll find it between excrement and syphilis in the dictionary. Not the idiot. Comment 2, not the idiot. Sister, I can do it right this time and have a do-over. Asha, come and see how good of a mother I am. Asha, I don't want to be part of your do-over family since you have never been a mother to me and you abandoned me. Sister, how dare you call them my do-over family and not want to see how good of a mom I am? You are such a bad person. The delusion is strong here. Now for the update, thanks for all the comments on my last post. So my sister's husband, let's call him Mr. Clueless, decided to take matters into his own hands. He thought he could fix things between Asha and my sister. He went behind my sister's back and reached out to Asha, begging her to come over for dinner. Asha, who's got a heart despite everything, agreed. She probably thought it was a step towards some sort of peace. The dinner was a disaster. My sister had no idea Asha was coming, and when she saw her, she lost it. She accused Asha of trying to ruin her new family. Asha was stunned. She got up and left without a word. Mr. Clueless tried to run after her, but my sister stopped him. They had a huge fight, and he ended up sleeping on the couch that night. Next day, my sister's at work, and Mr. Clueless does something unbelievable. He empties their joint bank account and takes off, just like that. No note, no call, nothing. My sister comes home to an empty house and an empty bank account. She's panicking, calling everyone, but no one's seen him. Turns out Mr. Clueless had a gambling problem. He'd been hiding it, but the pressure of the new baby and the whole Asha situation pushed him over the edge. He gambled away everything they had. My sister was left with nothing. She had to swallow her pride and ask our parents for help. They agreed, but only if she went to therapy. Meanwhile, Asha's been promoted at work. She's doing great, but she's also been getting these weird calls. Hang-ups, silent voicemails. She's a bit freaked out, thinking it's Mr. Clueless trying to contact her, but she can't prove it. A week after the dinner, my sister's at therapy, and she has a breakthrough. She realizes she's been a terrible mother to Asha. She wants to apologize, to make things right. She calls Asha, but Asha's not ready to talk. She's still hurt, still angry, but she doesn't hang up on her. That's something, I guess. My sister's trying to get her life back on track, but it's hard. She's got 2 kids, a missing husband, and a mountain of debt. She's working 2 jobs now, and she's tired all the time. But she's trying. For the first time in her life, she's really trying. As for me, I'm still here for Asha. I'm angry at my sister for everything she's done, but I'm also a bit hopeful. Maybe this is the wake-up call she needed. Maybe she'll change, but I'm not holding my breath. Thanks for reading. My friend insists I drink milk over water at a party and makes a scene when I refuse. So I accept her apology, then plan a dinner where she pays for everything as my sweet revenge. There is someone in my friend group, Marie, who I consider more of an acquaintance. To be honest, I would not be friends with her on my own, but she is friends with my other friends, so I'm cordial. Marie is very insecure and has thanked us several times for putting up with her and letting her be herself, because apparently she has cycled through several friend groups already since moving here a few years ago. Unfortunately, I can see why. For how insecure she is, she also thinks she's the smartest person in the room at all times, and is always interrupting people if she thinks she can share a fun fact that makes her look smart, even if it means correcting someone on a joke. It feels like she is constantly nitpicking, and often she will dig in her heels and argue about something that she turns out to be wrong about. She's also very touchy-feely and likes to give hugs where she basically drapes her whole body over yours, and she gets upset when I am not ever in the mood for one of those hugs. We all got together for a meal this weekend, and my entree was a bit spicy. I said I was going to pour myself a glass of water, and Marie starts loudly saying, "No, don't drink water. Water is actually useless for spice. Drink a glass of milk instead." And then starts going on a long explanation of why milk was better for spice than water. She absolutely bulldozed over another friend who was in the middle of speaking to say all this too. I told her that water would be fine and could she please just chill? Marie just wouldn't drop it and kept saying that milk was better and water wasn't helpful for spice. I'm over here like, I didn't eat a ghost pepper or anything. It's like a 310, can you please relax? At this point, a couple of other people are telling her to just let me drink water, and she's starting to dig in her heels about how it's objectively better to drink milk with spicy food. And I finally snap at her and say, "Oh my God, would you drop it already? You complain about how no one likes you for very long, and then you turn around and act insufferable. Just shut up about the milk, I don't care." She breaks down crying pretty much on the spot in the clamor of some people to comfort her and others to be like, "I mean, that was harsh but true," pretty much derailed the whole gathering. Marie said through another friend that she is not going to speak another word to me until I apologize. Our other friends are pretty torn, and some are saying that it was too harsh because she's younger than the rest of us, although we are all in our 20s. I'm willing to apologize, but I don't think I'm the only one who did anything wrong here. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, although I hope this didn't take place in a restaurant. You said, for how insecure she is, she also thinks she's the smartest person in the room at all times. And I thought that over, and I really think there's a connection. If you keep talking over everyone and telling them things they don't care about, I could see that as a sign of being insecure, if that makes sense. It's like she has to stand out in this way to keep herself in the group because deep down, she doesn't feel like she belongs. The fact that she immediately cried confirms that for me. Comment 2. Marie said to another friend that she is not going to speak another word to me until I apologize. Good. Problem solved. You've given her the information she needs to fix her life, and she can digest it where you aren't. She owes you an apology for harassing you about the allegedly better way to deal with spice. But she's never going to do that, is she? Standing up to someone who is being an is not an move. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for more updates. So much has happened since the last post. After the whole milk versus water fiasco, things got even more tense. Marie didn't speak to me for days, which honestly was a bit of a relief at first. But then she started avoiding group hangouts altogether, which made everyone else uncomfortable. They kept asking me to just apologize and get it over with. I was torn because, yeah, I was harsh, but it wasn't like I was the only one fed up with her antics. In the middle of all this, I found out something about Marie that made everything way more complicated. Turns out, she's been dealing with some serious family issues back home. Her brother, who she's really close with, got into some legal trouble and it's been weighing on her. I heard about it from one of our mutual friends, and it hit me that maybe her know-it-all attitude was just a front to keep her mind off the heavier stuff. I felt like a jerk for snapping at her, but at the same time it didn't excuse her behavior. I was stuck between wanting to be understanding and not wanting to let her walk all over me and everyone else. Then last week, something happened that forced my hand. We were all at a friend's birthday party, and Marie showed up unexpectedly. It was the first time we'd been in the same room since the argument. Things were awkward, to say the least. Everyone was walking on eggshells, trying not to set off another blow-up. Halfway through the party, Marie cornered me and handed me a letter. She'd written down everything she felt, her insecurities, the stress about her brother, and how she realized she'd been projecting her need for control onto us. She also apologized for the way she'd been acting. Reading that letter, I felt a mix of emotions. I was angry that she'd let things get so bad, but I also understood her a bit more. It was clear she was struggling and didn't know how to cope. I had to make a choice. I could hold on to my pride and stand by what I said, or I could try to mend fences. It wasn't easy, but I decided to talk to her. We had a long, honest conversation where I apologized for my outburst, and she promised to work on her behavior. It was a relief to clear the air, but I knew it would take time for things to get back to normal. The next day, Marie did something unexpected. She organized a small get-together and cooked dinner for everyone as a peace offering. It was a simple gesture, but it meant a lot to the group. It showed she was making an effort, and it helped ease the tension. Since then, things have been better. Not perfect, but better. Marie's been more self-aware, and I've been trying to be more patient. It's a work in progress, but I'm hopeful that we can find a balance where we're not constantly at odds with each other. Thanks for reading about the roller coaster these past 2 weeks have been. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.